Hello there, and thanks very much for buying the tutorial for this little Perpetual pocket album. Before you go on to cut out your cardstock and put the basic album together, I just wanted to show you how the album comes out so that you sort of know what you're working towards before you start. It is one great long, let's just open it out and slide it in front of you. You make, with the covers on one end, a great long strip that is concertinaed up with a really nice 1/4 inch spine between each section. And then on each section you'll have sticking out at the bottom a flap, let's go right to the front, that folds up to make the pocket section on each page. So the flaps, when you sort of get to the end, the first one folds up, the second one folds under, the third one folds up, the fourth one folds under, and you carry on like that, alternating this bottom flap to make pockets on every other page. And then on the other side you create the pocket for the pages in between. So all of the odd pages have pockets on the back. No, that's wrong. All of the even pages have pockets on the back, and all of the odd pages have pockets on the front. And then you cut a separate piece that's attached to create the pocket top before you start decorating your page. So that's how it works. Now I've used 5 sheets of cardstock, so the instructions that you'll follow are to use 5 sheets, and it does make quite a nice album with 4 spines on either side, 5 on this one because we've got the spines added to the covers. But you could carry on and you could add more pages. If you wanted to do that and make it wider, you just make your ribbons longer, and the ribbons actually tie up around the sides to hold it together. So you tie at the top, tie at the bottom, and then it is held together. So you could make your album as deep as you wanted to, and to do that you just add more of the last set of pages or last set of cardstock that you cut out. So you start in the centre and cut 1, then you cut 2 the same, and then you cut a third set, and it's those ones that you would carry on adding to add more pages. So you can make it whatever size you like. From the 12 by 12 cardstock it makes a really nice 7 by 5 album, but you could make the whole thing with deeper cardstock and then add your own pockets and pocket tops from a separate sheet if you wanted to. So that's just some things to think about. Have fun putting your album together and enjoy working through the instructions as well and creating your lovely little book. I did think as well it's a really lovely little book to alter in any papers. I've done the Halloween in Wonderland, but it would work with anything, and I'm seriously thinking of doing a safari adventure one as well. The little buttons on the end of everything are just punched out with a 1/2 inch punch and a 1/4 inch punch. Those were both from Stampin' Up, and then I've put glossy accents on them to give them some weight. It's a great way just to end your ribbons. And the little eyelets inside, or the hole reinforcers, are punched from a piece of paper just with a crocodile, the large hole on a crocodile, or a stationary punch, and then a 5/8 of an inch punch just punched out around it, and that makes your eyelets, and then I cover them with glossy accents. So when you get right to the end and you've made everything, a really quick and easy way to cover everything with glossy accents, because there's lots of detail on the pages as you go through, if you want to add it, is to open out your book and leave it overnight on one side and put your glossy accents on all of the elements that you want to pick out, leave it to dry, and then turn it over and just go through the whole album and do the same on the other side. rather than doing each page as you go. And then the last thing that I did was add a little bit of treasure gold just to the photo corners, just to give them a hint of colour. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but just a hint on the edges of all the spines and all around the covers as well. So I'll leave you to decide what embellishments you're going to add as you go along, and have fun making it. So to make the basic album, you need to take 5 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. I'm using Licorice Twist by Basil. It's quite a heavy cardstock and gives a really good structure for your pages. And you want to score 5 inches in from one edge on all 5 of them. And then, starting with sheet number 1, have the 5-inch scored section at the bottom of your paper trimmer. So I'm working upside down so that you can just follow along. And the 7-inch section at the top, and measuring along the top, we want to score like this. So come right along, let's just move the trimmer, and we're going to score to start with at a 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to score and cut at the same time. I can do that on this paper trimmer. I've got the blade at the bottom, score blade at the top. Let's just move it so that you can see. And I'm going to start by scoring at a 1/2 down to the score line that you've got going horizontally across the paper. And then with my blade, I'm going to cut up to that score line. So I'm scoring and cutting at the same time, and it just saves cutting long lengths later on. So if you do that, and then move along to 3/4 inch, and score down to the score line, and cut up to the score line, and then move along until you get to 5 3/4. And same again, score down to the score line and cut up, and then move along to 6, and same again, score down to the score line and cut up to it, and then move along to 11. Let's go right along to 11. This is where my paper goes a bit off skew. And again, score down to the score line and cut up. And then 11 1/4. So move along to 11 1/4. Score down to your score line and score up. And then move along to 11 3/4. Just get it straight. And I'm going to take the score blade out and cut at 11 3/4. And then all you need to do is just cut off these narrow tails. So just take your scissors. I quite like to fold one of these pieces under, and then it just is easier to cut across that centre section. And then I'm going to turn around and just cut those tails off. And that gives you the centerpiece for the album. And then you want to take 2 pieces of cardstock. We're going to go through cutting one, and then you just need to cut a second, the same size. So again, put it into your paper trimmer so that you've got that score line 7 inches from the top. So you've got a short section at the bottom, larger section at the top, cutting blade at the bottom, score blade at the top if you're doing it that way. Let's just move these out of the way. And I'm going to start by scoring at 5 from the top. So score to the line from the top and cut up to the line from the bottom, and then move along to 5 1/4 and do the same. So down from the top, up from the bottom, and then move along to 10 1/4 and score down to the score line, cut up to the score line, and then move along to 10 1/2. She says 10 1/4, 10 1/2. Do it again. And then move along to 11 and take your score blade out and cut. So this piece gives you 1 tab on the end and 2 1/4-inch spines, and then just cut off those tabs. I'm going to fold that section under and cut. And then the last piece, again, you want to cut 2 of them. So large section at the top, and we're going to start at 5 inches. So line up at 5 inches. Where's 5? And let's just pop my score blade in, which has gone under here. So again, do the same again, score down to your line at 5 and cut up. And then move across to 5 1/4, score down and cut up. And then move along to 10 1/4, take your score blade out, doesn't want to come out, and cut. And this gives you your end sections. So you want to do 2 of those, and then just cut out that little centre section. And then you want to score all of your score lines on both sides. So flip them over, work through them all, scoring backwards and forwards on both of the lines. Let's just fold this one up and score it once, flip it over and score again, and then this one's a bit tricky because it's such a narrow fold. Let's just get it folded and lined up. It doesn't want to go. That's it. And score that way. Flip it over and score the other way. If you're using lighter weight cardstock, then just score gently. But what you'll find is you'll get really sharp score lines then, and a really lovely box edge to your album. So work through all your pieces, scoring them all on both sides so that they all flip up, and then grab some double-sided tape and we'll put the album together. So starting with your centre section, the one that's got the 2 tabs, one either side on the top section, put some double-sided tape just down the tabs and miter the corners slightly, just to cut away that angle. So I've just trimmed my corners back. And then you want to bring in one of your next pieces, and that's also got a tab on the side. It's got a tab on one of the sides. So put tape on the tab, trim off the corner, and then you're going to stick the side that hasn't got a tab onto the tab of the centre section. So let's take the backing tape off, and I don't know how you find it easier to do this. I'm going to line my piece up with the top edge of my album so that I know it's nice and straight, and then I'm going to fold the tab over. And then you'll see that you've got a really nice 1/2 inch spine there. And then move across to the other side, take your backing strip off the tape on that side of the centre section, bring in your second side piece, line it up with the top of your album. I'm just lining this one up on just to the left of the score, to the right of the score line, and pressing it down. And then you get your really nice box edge. And then bring in your end pieces. So those are the two that have got no tabs on at all. Put tape down this little tab here. Just trim back those corners just slightly. Let's go that way. And take your tape off and line up your top edge. Oops, it's a bit tricky. And stick. So you end up with a great long piece. Goes on and on and on. Of black card scored in various places. And then you want to put your last piece on this side. So that's the last piece with no tabs on. So I'm going to do it this way. I don't know why I do it this way on the left and the other way on the right hand side. So I'm just going to fold this tab up and butt this up against the edge, line up the top, fold over and stick it down. And then at the ends you want to cut off, let's go right, you want to cut off one piece, so the first bottom section. So let's get the large scissors actually. You might want to concertina everything up because it just does go on and on and on, doesn't it? So right from the start, cut off the bottom of piece number 1 because that section is going to stick to your album cover, and then go all the way to the other end. Unfold it and do the same on this last piece. So cut off that bottom section. And then you want to start concertinaing up, so have that section flat and then lift up, down, up, down, up. Oh, I haven't scored that. Let's just fold it anyway. So down, up and down, and what you get is a concertinaed album with a flat piece at the back, a flat piece at the front, and then all these funny little flaps down here. And those you can fold up, but don't stick them down at the moment. We don't want to stick those down until we've put our covers on and papers on the page. So we've got or would have if mine was scored properly, a really nice little concertina book, and we're ready to put our covers on. So grab your pieces, your chipboard pieces and your card, and we'll put the covers together. So the first thing to do is to put tape around both or all edges of your 2 black pieces of card and 3 strips on your chipboard pieces, and take the strips off, the backing strips, and stick your chipboard in the centre of your black card. It doesn't have to be precise because we're just going to fold the edges up, but the tape will hold it down really firmly. So line up. I'm just eyeballing it. And then take off your tape strips. Now I've put my tape on in one long strip, just folding the corners, which just makes it easy to pull off in one go, which is really quick. So I'm going to pull them both, the backing strips off. Let's find the right end. And then take a piece of chipboard, the thickness that you've just used, pop it down against your corner, and with a pencil, where's my pencil? It's gone. I'll use a pen. Just draw yourself a line on the outer side of your chipboard, being careful not to get stuck to everything else. Actually, I'm finding if I just push the chipboard onto the sticky tape, then it makes its own line, which is quite good. So, and then what you want to do is cut off those corners along the line that you've just created. And you will have a little piece of black card sticking out at the corner, which is really important. Like that. And then unstick the scissors, and let's just move that one out of the way. Do the same again with the other piece. So let's just press and stick. If you're confident just to cut your card, then do, but sometimes it's nice just to have a guideline. So snip off all the corners, and then we're ready to fold the card onto the cardstock onto the card. So I always like to start folding away from myself. So if that was you, I'd do that. And use your surface to get a really nice fold around the edge of your chipboard, and then just press your card onto your chipboard so that it sticks firmly. I always do the long edges first, and then when you've done that, you'll have little triangles of cards sticking out over the top of your chipboard. Squash them inwards. So you could do that with your scissors, your ruler, a bone folder, or your fingers. And then use your surface again just to fold the card onto the chipboard, or to start the crease going, and then up and over. And then you've got a really nice sharp cornered cover, and then repeat for the other piece. So lift up and push, lift up and push, fold down, squash your corners, and fold and stick, turn around, squash your corners, fold and stick. And there are your covers ready to go onto your album. So the next thing to do is to bring your album in. So here it is. Doesn't matter which way round you've got it. If you close it up, you'll have those nice scored edges on the one side, and then you'll have the same on the other side, all ready for the covers. And if you open it like this, so that you've got your single page at the front, single page at the back, and then turn it over. That's the side that you want to put your double-sided tape on. So go all the way around both of those surfaces, strip down the middle, and then we're ready to put our cover on. So I'm going to sort of unconcertina part of the book and take my backing tape off. Like that. And then this piece, concertina it up again, is 1/4 of an inch smaller than the album cover. So you want to try and get it centrally so that it sits nicely on your cover. So I have to stand up to do this. And it's not easy. Not easy at all. However, let's do it. You might want to just look at it before you stick it down really firmly. That's fine. So what you want is this creased edge to be slightly in, can you see, from the edge of the cover. And then when you're happy with where it's sitting and you've got it on straight, really press it down. And then turn over and do the same again on the other side. She says, let's sit down again. And take the strips off. Nearly done. And take the strips off. Uh-oh. Thought it was coming off, but it wasn't. Okay, now cover number 2. If you want to, you could stand your album up. However, it does drop on the side that hasn't got the cover on. Or you can open it out. Want to go the other way. Flip it over so you've got sticky side facing you, and then position it and stick. I keep moving it. Come on, stick down. That's it. That's it, I think. And then fold it up. And you've got your cover on the front. Let's turn it around. Cover on the front and cover on the back. All ready to decorate. And you can decorate them in any way you like. So my Halloween in Wonderland altered concertina pockety album is just one idea, but you could do whatever you want to with whatever papers you've got. So you decide which way you want your pockets to fold. I've gone pocket to the front, and then the next one I've folded behind, in front, and then behind, in front, behind, in front, and the last one is in front so that I've got a plain cover. You can also add tops to your pockets by cutting a just under 5 inches actually, by 3.5 inch pieces of card. Just score them at a 1/2 inch and slide them over the top of your page with the pocket on, and then you can do closures or whatever you want to add. And there's just a nice inch overlap on your pockets. I wouldn't stick your pockets down until you've decorated your pages, only because you want to be able to put some paper at the top of each of the pages and craft away. The instructions for the Halloween in Wonderland altered concertina album are on my website. I'll put the link below. If you've enjoyed the video, then don't forget to give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be kept up to date with new videos as they come out. Thanks for watching.